yesterday.
You're a clear, straight speaker.
Straight.
I gave you time. I didn't lead with this. I gave you time to talk about 2024. You got that time. Dude. And this is now your chance to address this, and you're not addressing it. That's fine.
Ari, you're not
people can read that for themselves.
You're not addressing
you want me to respond to you now we're at the end of the interview? You want me to respond to that?
Okay.
I'd be happy to since we're on live air. I'm gonna respond to you on live air. I quoted a New York Times article that said, at the convention, Donald Trump was his own biggest prop. It was a New York Times quote about how he had become such an important figure in rebounding from what was a horrific assassination attempt. Fox News, which Corey, I said I'd address it. I'm going to finish. Fox News, many viewers may not know about this, but apparently you do, and some do. Fox News, which has been caught in defamation, ran a false piece falsely stating that I said something else that I didn't say. So I stand on that. I stand on the New York Times
quote. So you didn't say this bandage was a prop, a spectacle from a candidate who was obsessed with spectacles.
Mr. Lewandowski, I did not say that. That is a false quote.
Right here. It's clear.
What you have is a false quote. What you have is a false quote. And I'm putting you on notice. If you continue to repeat falsely that I said that, you will be potentially in a defamation situation because I didn't say that. But I understand that you're working off the internet, which is a lot of false information.
This is what it says.
I wish you luck with that. And Corey Lewandowski, we gave you time. I appreciate you coming on.
President for that.
Thank you for joining me. Corey Lewandowski, Trump 2024, and we will be right back.
So, do you think he's telling the truth?
Let's just take a look.
Here's how the New York Times put it. On the first night of this convention, Trump was his own biggest prop. He entered the VIP box, a large white bandage on his injured right ear, the result of a close call on Saturday with a would-be assassin's bullet. A reminder of mortality, a badge of survival. It was a blank rectangle on which the crowd could read what it wished, and that made it the most potent placard in the hall. That's fair. A placard for delegates to fill in, an image for political mobilization, a spectacle for this candidate who we know is, by his own admission, obsessed with assorted spectacles. New York Times
you didn't say this bandage was a prop, a spectacle from a candidate who was obsessed with spectacles.
Mr. Lewandowski, I did not say that. That's an image for political mobilization, a spectacle for this candidate who we know is, by his own admission, obsessed with assorted spectacles. Mr. Lewandowski, I did not say that. That is a false quote.
Right here.
Wow. Why would I lie?
I imagine it's like breathing for you.
Fake, disgusting news. Fake, disgusting news.
This is such an important conversation. We talk about misogyny and sexism all the time. We talk about it in the context of Donald Trump. But let's be frank. When it comes to women of color, there's a particular vitriol that is saved for women of color by people like Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, and other Republicans.
Yeah, I think it's not even restricted to party, Katie. I think you as a woman of color, you as an attorney of color, you certainly have seen it. You know, it doesn't even matter. We don't even have to say across the aisle, both sides of the aisle. It is a nonpartisan issue, racism and sexism in this country.
Here we go.
The reality of it is there are a lot of folks that create terms out of something as beautiful as diversity, equity, and inclusion and change it to mean something like didn't earn it, despite the fact that many of them didn't earn it either. They earned it on our backs and off of trust funds and off of legacy admissions and all of the things that help to level a playing field on a field they should never be able to play on themselves. And what we also know about Kamala Harris in particular is she is by far the most qualified person to ever run for president.
What?
What we also know about Kamala Harris in particular is she is by far the most qualified person to ever run for president. If folks have some facts that they like to hand to us to show us why what I'm saying isn't true, I'd love to see them.
It would be my honor. And we have some breaking news from the 2020 campaign race. Senator Kamala Harris is expected to drop out. The California Democrat has been struggling to gain momentum.
My God.
Interesting news. Recent focus groups conducted by the super PAC Republican voters against Trump found that swing voters don't like Harris. And focus groups conducted by the Democratic National Committee also found Harris rubs some people the wrong way. So, Jonah, how big a drag is Kamala Harris on the ticket?
I think she's a pretty big drag. I think she was arguably Biden's worst political decision of his presidency to pick her in the first place.
Not a joke.
She is by far the most qualified person to ever run for president.
The new NBC poll found that just 32% of respondents held a positive view of the vice president. Yikes. On the other hand, 49% said they held a negative opinion of her. That's a net favorability rating of -17 and marks the lowest for a vice president in the history of NBC's polling.
That's Kamala. I think she was arguably Biden's worst political decision of his presidency to pick her in the first place.
What we gonna do right here is go back. Way back. Back into time.
Harris again went after the Trump administration and the proposal to fund the wall in return for temporary security for the Dreamers.
This administration has decided to vilify them and to trade on them for the sake of this president's medieval vanity project called a wall. Let me be very clear. I'm not going to vote for a wall under any circumstances. This issue is about a vanity project for this president. Right. And it is a problem of his own making. Right. And listen, when I travel this country, folks have plenty enough problems that they need their president to focus on. You know what? Instead of a wall that, by the way, because I was a prosecutor for many years, including the Attorney General of California, I specialize on transnational criminal organizations. Yeah. That wall ain't gonna stop them. No.
I can first.
These people are crazy. These people are crazy.
But if you take a look at that ad, one thing that I found striking is if you look, and I think we have the images here, there are at least 3 points in that ad that show the border wall, Donald Trump's border wall. Is it now the position of the Democrats that they favor the border wall?
Well, you can ask the Harris campaign about that ad. That's the first that I've seen it.
President's medieval vanity project called a wall.
Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall. Build that wall.
This is great. Just the three of us. You, me, and this brick wall you built between us.
Yeah.
We have a secure border.
I am your retribution. I am your retribution. Not going to let this happen. As president, I stood with the National Guard as you saved Minneapolis, saved Kenosha, and saved Washington, D.C. I saved them. If I didn't override what they wanted to do and what tradition is, those places would have been, we would have lost every monument in Washington. You know, they came into Washington and they were very rambunctious. They liked to pull the statues down, some of these beautiful statues. And then they hit Abraham Lincoln. I said, all right, that's the end of that. And I found there was a bill from the early 1900s. We don't do bills like that anymore. This said, if you touch government property, statues, monuments of any kind, you will serve 10 years with no probation, no early getting out. You go to jail for 10 years. Very simple. It was beautifully stated. It was like one paragraph. And it had dust on it. It was dusty. Nobody used it because we wouldn't do that because we become very soft. They only go after political opponents. They don't do anything like murderers. Those guys are safe. Drug dealers, no problem. But political opponents, they go after. So this was in very bad. It was a very old bill. And I had a news conference, and they were all over. They wanted to take down the Thomas Jefferson, the Jefferson Memorial. They wanted to take it down. They were heading that way. They were actually heading that way. We had them all stopped, but they were heading that way. It's like fighting a war. And I went out to a news conference. I announced anybody that touches any of our monuments or statues goes to jail for 10 years. Everybody left Washington, D.C. I was very lonely. They all left. I watched them. I watched their asses from the back. They were all, that's all I could see is thousands of asses. They want to change everything. These people are sick. These people are sick. It's crazy.
So, President Trump, you know, our moms are busy women, and they have families and busy lives, right? And many of them never thought that they would get involved in politics and run. Did you ever think about running for office at other times in your lives? And then just some advice, because you come under fire a lot. Our moms are standing for things that often the media attacks them on. We'd love to get some advice from you about running for office.
Yeah, so I would say don't do it.
No, run for office. We want you to run for office.
I do say this, though. It is nastier to run as a Republican. It is. Now, I'm the ultimate, you know, I mean, they suffer from a thing called TDS. Do you know what that is?
Yes.
TDS, it's a horrible, horrible terminal disease. It destroys the mind. It destroys the mind before the body, but the body eventually goes. TDS is Trump derangement syndrome. They have it at levels. They can't even stand their life. They can't stand anything.
And now a brief example of the worst cases of Trump derangement syndrome.
Don't.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
Preserve, protect, and defend.
Preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
This is a great day for everybody. This is a great, great day.
Are you okay, Miss Fowles?
I'm sorry.
Staying on the space beat, the White House has confirmed that Vice President Kamala Harris will chair the National Space Council. filling the role vacated by her predecessor, VP Pence.
Any assignment that this Vice President Kamala Harris gets is so interesting, especially given the historic nature of her presence in the White House. And what the White House is saying about this council is that it's really a portfolio that takes on national security, scientific, technological dimensions. Some of its mandates are to continue to work with our allies to explore new frontiers of outer space travel.
I can first.
New this morning, a stunning announcement from NASA.
NASA has decided that Butch and Sonny will return with Crew 9 next February.
NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams were aboard Boeing Starliner's historic launch in June, the first with a crew, but they were only supposed to be in space for a week. NASA now says they'll return from the International Space Station 8 months past schedule on a SpaceX Dragon capsule.
8 months past schedule.
Oh my God.
They suited up. They waved to their families. And they rode an elevator up nearly 20 stories. They strapped in to their seats and waited as the tanks beneath them filled with tens of thousands of gallons of fuel. And then they launched. Yeah, they did.
Houston, I've lost visual of Dr. Stone. Houston, I've lost visual of Dr. Stone.
And that, my friends, is called Bidenomics.
We are led by very, very stupid people. Very, very stupid people.
Your age makes the choice of your vice president all the more important. Why do you think Senator Harris would be ready to step in and become commander-in-chief if something were to happen to you?
Number one, her values. Number two, she is smart as a devil. Number three, she has a backbone like a ramrod. Number four, she is really principled. And number five, she has had significant experience in the largest state in the union. Number one, her values. Number two, she is smart as a devil.
She is smart as a devil.
Oh, really? I love Venn diagrams. I really love Venn diagrams. And imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails. Imagine what that means when you consider he has openly vowed that if reelected on day one, he will be a dictator. That he would end the independence of the Department of Justice so he could have unchecked power and seek vengeance against people who disagree with him. He even called for termination of the United States Supreme, the supreme land of our nation, the United States Constitution. Think about what that means.
What did you say?
He even called for termination of the United States Supreme, the supreme land of our nation, the United States Constitution. Think about what that means.
Bruh. We're so much better than this.
I couldn't agree more.
I did everything right and they indicted me. And two amazing Puerto Rican musical legends, they're legends, Justin Quiles and Anuel. Do you know who they are? Do you know who the hell they are? Come up here, just fast, fellas, come on. Because I don't know if these people know who the hell you are. But it's good for the Puerto Rican vote. Every Puerto Rican is going to vote for Trump right now. We'll take. Hi, fellas.
Thank you, Mr. President, for having us here. For me, it's a real blessing to be here.
I'm from Puerto Rico. We a big part of United States. We really depend on the United States. Since Trump hasn't been around, Puerto Rico's, it's not a secret. We've been going through a lot as a country. And Biden always promise. A lot of politicians always promise through the years, but all of us know, the world knows, everybody's experienced it. The best president the world has seen, this country has ever seen. His name is President Trump. Thank you for having me here. To all my Puerto Ricans, let's stay united. Let's vote for Trump. I personally spoke with him. He wants to help Puerto Rico grow and succeed as a country. So let's stand out tall and united. And we all want to remember that. He wants to keep helping Latinos in the U.S. Let's do things the right way, and let's keep growing. Let's keep growing as a family, and let's make America great again. God bless y'all.
I'll also say a few words here. Mr. President, I'm beyond honored being here with you today. Mr. President, above all, I like you because I always say this, you're not a puppet. I love that about you. Yeah, I really do. I back you because I feel you're the most honest president we ever had. That's true. Saying things how they are, not what you think people want to hear. And that's very important. A lot of Latinos, we stand strong next to President Trump. A lot of Latinos, we love you as well. Thank you for sharing with us back there how important building back Puerto Rico is. And not only building up Puerto Rico, but let's make America great again. Let's go.
Wow, that's great.
And so I was sort of raised in the Puerto Rican community at home, politically.
Bullshit. We can't let it happen to other people. We can't let what you're going through happen to other families. And you know what you're going through, as we discussed, nobody's ever seen anything like it. All for no reason whatsoever. And these are hardened criminals pouring into our country. And then they always say, Sheriff, oh, the illegal immigrants don't commit crimes like people that live here. It's so wrong. They don't report them, but it's so wrong. They make our criminals look like babies. They make our criminals look like babies.
The Philadelphia Police Department responded to reports of multiple vehicles being shot while driving down Beacon Street. Investigators learned the suspect not only lied about his name, but also his age and place of birth. The suspect was originally identified as 31-year-old Jonathan Salvador of Mexico. He's now been identified as 39-year-old Freddie Antonio Amaya Marin from El Salvador. Officers say the suspect stood in the woods outside his home and shot at multiple vehicles driving down the street until police arrived on the scene. He then began shooting at officers and they returned fire.
They make our criminals look like babies.
Maya Marin faces 8 counts of attempted murder and federal charges for illegal re-entry after deportation and illegal alien in possession of a firearm. Authorities tell 3 on Your Side this is not his first incident. The 39-year-old was deported back to El Salvador back in 2007 and returned to the U.S. illegally. He's also a confirmed member of a violent international street gang.
The challenge that we have as an administration is we got to let people know who brung it to them. That's our challenge.
The city of Aurora said it shut down the complex because living conditions are unfit for human habitation and code violations dating back to 2 years. While the management company claimed they could not do any maintenance or repairs because the complex was overrun by a Venezuelan gang.
Biden-Harris administration, masterclass in terms of performance.
She's also noticed an uptick in crime like break-ins.
They've taken tools, they've taken the batteries. I'm not sure that they have necessarily monetary value. I lost my husband, and now I'm losing his things. We've lost our security and we've lost our freedom to live in our home. You're afraid to leave because it's not in the middle of the night and it's not in the middle of the day. It's around the clock.
Call the police.
But America, we are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back.
We have a great country that's going to hell, and it's going to hell very fast.
All right, let me ask you about another one of the big headlines this week, Donald Trump's visit to Arlington National Cemetery. You've been talking about this. He attended a wreath-laying ceremony, obviously, for the 13 service members who were killed during the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan. He was invited by those family members, important to say that. He also had campaign staffers with him. Photos, videos were posted on a campaign site. Taking campaign photos and videos at grave sites is forbidden under federal law. You, of course, served at Arlington Cemetery in the Old Guard, so I know that this is a sacred place for you. Bottom line, though, I guess, Senator, is it ever appropriate to make campaign content at military grave sites?
He didn't take campaign photos there. These families, Gold Star families, whose children died because of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's incompetence, invited him to the cemetery, and they asked him to take those photos because, as they told me yesterday when I spoke to Kelly Barnett and Darren Hoover, the parents of Taylor Hoover, who has Arkansas ties, they don't get to go to the beach on Labor Day. They don't get to have barbecues. This is their one chance to have a memory of their children, to commemorate their service and to honor their sacrifice. They wanted President Trump there. They wanted to take those photos. You know who the families also invited? Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Where were they? Joe Biden was sitting at a beach. Kamala Harris was sitting at her mansion in Washington, D.C. She was 4 miles away. 10 minutes. She could have gone to the cemetery and honored the sacrifice of those young men and women. But she hasn't. She never has spoken to them or taken a meeting with them.
Well, they did meet with them during the dignified transfer.
Because of
they were with them at the dignified transfer.
Her and Joe Biden's incompetence.
Really?
Well, I stood there on the tarmac watching you check your watch over and over again. All I wanted to do was shout out, "It's 2:30. But out of respect to the other grieving families, I bit my tongue once again. Well, as you could probably tell by now, I'm done biting my tongue.
They did meet with them during the dignified transfer. They were with them at the dignified transfer.
A few moments later.
Because they're fake news. We know that, you know. They're fake news. They are the biggest fakers in the world.
Because I don't want you to lie.
I explained this. I have to lie. Everybody lies. Mommy lies. Even the wonderful Jerry lies.
But you're the only one that makes me feel bad.
But I'm not joking when I say this. If you're ever working with me and I hear you treat another colleague with disrespect, talk down to someone, I promise you I will fire you on the spot. On the spot.
Out of San Francisco, 49ers wide receiver Ricky Pearsall shot during an attempted robbery. Police saying the suspect, a 17-year-old boy from Tracy.
A scary situation over in San Francisco at Union Square. Pearsall is in a stable but critical condition. The shooting happened at approximately 3:37 this afternoon. Pearsall was coming out of an autograph signing when a suspect tried robbing a Rolex off of him. It happened on the corner of Geary and Market. The robbery turned physical, leading to both Pearsall and the suspect sustaining gunshot wounds. Pearsall was struck in the chest. Police arrived at the scene shortly after, taking both to San Francisco General Hospital. The suspect is in custody with charges pending. And you saw San Francisco Mayor London Breed posting that on X today.
London Breed, mayor of San Francisco, defunded the police in the past.
Yeah, I would just say that it is very rare for something like this to happen in Union Square.
What was that?
Yeah, I would just say that it is very rare for something like this to happen in Union Square.
Oh, really?
Police are investigating the murder of a tech titan on the streets of San Francisco. Cash App founder Bob Lee was stabbed to death early Tuesday morning, and no arrests have been made.
Oh, that was different.
If you haven't had the chance to see the magnificence, the beauty of our great state, it's time to visit California.
What's the biggest threat to America?
The media.
Why?
The media is the enemy of the people. Take a look at the Trump versus Biden debate, that first debate that ever happened. Before that debate, the media was all in with Biden, was promoting him, was saying that it was a right-wing conspiracy if you say that Biden is senile, Biden has dementia, Biden has lost his step, and Biden is not in control. Then the debate happens, and the largest audience ever of American people, but also the world, had now seen on that stage that Biden cannot complete a sentence. Keep in mind, they've known this the whole time. This guy has been cooked since 2020. And then immediately the media changes tune, saying Biden's senile, Biden's this, Biden's that. The media switches and changes up, and then they usher in Kamala. They literally attempted a coup on Biden, and they were successful. No one voted for Kamala to be the Democratic nominee. For the party that says that Trump is this huge threat to democracy, that was one of the most anti-democratic things that I have ever seen.
California is now proposing 0 interest and 0 down for illegal immigrants buying a home. What's even the point of being an American citizen anymore?
Hey, asks a fair question.